Sure. All right, I am calling Village Board of Trustees meeting of April 24th, 2023. The order, roll call, please.
Trustee Brad,
Here.
trustee Brunner,
Here.
trustee Borford. Here. Trustee Brooke,
Here.
trustee Paul Mikowski,
Here.
or trustee Elevator, president.
Here. The stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we're at public comment. This is an opportunity for anyone to address the village board on any issue. Please observe the time limit of 3 minutes. While the village board encourages input from residents, it may not discuss or act on any issue that is not duly noticed on the agenda. I don't see anybody here. Is there anybody in Cyberland that would like to speak?
Nope. We're good.
We're good?
Scott Schmidt.
All right, we're at consent agenda. Upon request of any trustee, any item may be removed from the consent agenda for separate consideration under general business. Does anybody have any item they would like removed from the consent agenda? All right, not hearing any. Do I have a motion? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
I will second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to accept the consent agenda. Any discussion?
I have one question, I think.
All right, go ahead.
Sorry. Was, I don't know if it matters or not, and I hope it really doesn't, but inside the consent agenda was the facility use agreement with the Stingrays. The usage agreement wasn't in the packet. It was,
That was added to, yeah, that was brought to my attention. There was a duplicate posting. It was added to every trustee's packet today in the OneDrive.
okay.
for review.
It was, it got in the one drivers.
Okay. So a lot of people read it, it just wasn't in the one line. I don't think.
Correct. Yeah, it got doubly posted from the memo.
Okay, just wanted to.
All right, anything else? All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same. So moved. We'll go to report of village officers. I have nothing to add tonight. Judy's not here. Other trustees report, Doug?
Just have a quick one recognizing the Cross Plains Chamber Volunteer of the Year, Kelly Powell. Great work. Whitey Hillenbrand was also recognized as a past Volunteer of the Year during COVID. And Montague's Pub and Grill was the Business of the Year at the annual chamber banquet, which was well attended.
Thank you, Doug. Anybody else? All right, village administrator.
One quick update, we received confirmation from the state that the County Highway KP bridge repair is currently slated to begin in July. They're anticipating that to be roughly a 2-month project.
All right, thank you. Other reports, Jerry Gray?
Is not that.
Oh, did he go back home? All right, let's just, we'll move on.
Can we come back to it or something? I don't know how to do that.
I don't need an audio, but we can. That's not really covered by Robert's rules. So, I'm not sure if it fits in with one of these or not, but we'll need him here for a number of the other ones, so.
Yeah, he's
I
actually,
think we can just move on.
Yeah.
Whenever it comes back.
Yeah, not a problem. All right, we're at general business then. Discussion and possible action, pay application number 7 for water system improvement project. I guess we don't, Evans isn't here. Is he
Yeah,
on?
Evan spoke with me and he
Okay.
said Jerry was going to cover some of this for us. We might as well move ahead to two, maybe table that for the moment and.
Well, let's not
Or
table.
not table, yeah.
We'll postpone,
Postpone, yeah.
can I have a motion to postpone this until, Jerry goes?
I motion to postpone the application.
For later in the
for
meeting.
water systems for later in this meeting.
A second. All right, got a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. So moved. Okay. Number two, discussion and possible action, County KP Trail, Nelson Grant Resolution.
Okay, so this, if you remember correctly, a few months back, we sought approval for a second grant application to coincide with the Parks grant that the village currently has in its possession to supplement the future County Highway KP reconstruction project and the subsequent trail that runs alongside of the road. So one of the requirements for the grant, formal grant application is passage of a resolution by the village board in order for a accurate and complete application to be sent in for consideration. So that resolution page has been included tonight for your review and approval.
I motion to approve the village resolution for the formal DNR Knowles Nelson stewardship grant application.
I'll second. I have a motion and a second discussion. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, same. Can I have a motion to move 1, 3, 4? Those we all need Jerry, to under the streetlight policy, so let's insert them.
Okay. Just can't postpone 3 and 4 like we did 1.
Well, but we're getting kind of messy. I want to make sure, technically we should be moving them by motion. I mean, if you want to,
No, I'm saying we should make another motion, but slot them specifically, you can just say we're gonna postpone them to later in this meeting.
sure, we can do that. All right, that's fine, but we got a lot of list. Sure.
I motion to approve general business items 3 and 4 to postpone them to later in this meeting.
All right. Do I have a second?
1 second.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. All right, so moved. So we're now down to number 5. Discussion and possible action, village authorization for requests for proposals from local financial institutions. Bobby, I believe this is yours.
Yeah, so we just got a concern from a trustee that, due to some of the bank failures and stuff that have been happening, that they were just concerned that our money was safe. And if now that Monona and State Bank merged, that all of our funds now are at one bank instead of split between 2. So I'm just, confirming that all of our money is secured either by collateral or insured cash sweep. But it is a good idea to occasionally go out for RFP for our banking services. So I guess that's just kind of what we're wondering if that's something you guys would like us to do.
I guess, while I know it's all insured, I think there's always a timeline when a bank goes under before you can get funding, even though they have been pretty quick. But I don't think it's a bad idea to spread that to a couple banks, so maybe it is a good time to go out and see if we can split the money and see what other people have to offer. I would be in favor of that.
I would as well.
I would as well. And I guess I see the list of authorized financial institutions. I was just kind of curious how we generated that.
I forgot that was in there. It's in the investment policy, like the rules on how you could be on that list right there. Brian, you got it there. It has to be all of those things. I personally have never looked through that and verified all of those. So yeah, I think that list that's in the appendix, whatever, to the policy was created prior to me starting. Who made? Is there any other banks you would like me to verify and add to that list?
No, I don't care about the list, I was curious.
I think most of them had local offices. That's how they kind of got on the list. We didn't want anything that wasn't local.
Should we just piece together a motion and puts this in Bob's hands to put out the RFP and then come back with options or something?
Sure. Go ahead.
I don't know how to, well, I mean, I didn't think about it that far yet. I would like to make the motion, to authorize staff to go out to RFP for, another bank to diversify our money storage holdings, that's the word.
I'll second that motion.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Go ahead.
So Bobby, with that, what do you think you're gonna do? Do you have an idea? I mean, I know in there you say you want a local checking account. I know the last time we sort of did it, we kind of went out, it's because some funds weren't collateralized and then they became recollateralized, but that's when Monona Bank gave us like a slightly higher interest rate on the swap. Right, remember like all that stuff?
Yeah, so yeah, I would have to look into, an example of what. At this time, like I said in my memo, I prefer if our main checking account was still at a bank in the village.
Yeah.
Which, there's only one, but, we'll do, write an RFP for money markets and that kind of stuff, to keep our, for long-term cash.
Absolutely, like what we do like with the swap with Monona or whatever, the longer term restricted funds or what have you.
Or, once Park Bank opens, at that point, you want to do an RFP for main checking.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same, so moved. Number 6, discussion and possible action, village department, part-time staff hiring / village wage compensation. Mike?
Right, we've been probably back in, I believe, our February meeting, we had some discussion in regards to trying to incentivize, staff, whether it be trying to retain current staff or recruit staff coming in. And, this is more or less just asking the village board currently if they are still in favor of such a program or a type of a program. And if so, staff would work on what that would look like in regards to recruitment and also retainment, providing incentivized bonuses or stipends for staff coming in. I provided you with an memo, a few of the ideas that we have talked about and open with you already. But I think there are a lot of other options out there as well that we could kind of open and look around to. Currently, from my standpoint, I don't want to put a whole lot of time into something that's obviously unattainable currently, especially with the way spring's shaping up here. So looking for people to make some direction.
Cam?
So I think this came from my request for an item for a future agenda item, and I guess part of it was, it was a couple months ago, you were saying like, look, I have half the lifeguards I had or whatever at the same time last year, I guess. Like, what kind of risks are we looking at for summer offerings, for Parks and Rec?
Yeah, so currently our rec department is going to be well staffed. Like it works really well through the programming side of things. The pool side is not, and that obviously takes a lot more certifications. That costs money for staff. The committee did look through our budget, Park and Rec committee looked through our budget to see about increasing funding for wages for lifeguards, and we were able to do that and accommodate that. We're still not at the level of the cities around us or the private pools around us, which I don't see us getting to anytime soon, but I think right now we're 7 lifeguards less than what we've had the last 3 to 4 years total, which will have an impact of some sort. I've been trying to put together schedules. I don't have everybody, even that is coming back for the summer. I don't have their complete availability, those change, obviously, with what we did with high school, vacations and also trying to figure out, you know, what sports they're going to be being a part of as well, so that always has an impact on it.
You have any like ballpark guesses? I mean, down 7 lifeguards, that. I mean, I know, you obviously you can't know everyone's schedule, but.
Basically, how much school you're gonna be open.
Correct, and or how many swim lessons we'll be able to offer, you know, it's all gonna kind of change in time, you know, like the goal would be, everybody is signed up for a pool membership and or swim lessons to this point, and we have a lot of registrations. We're starting to kind of put different staff with different levels. The swim lessons is really where I feel the impact would be felt based on the number of staff needed for such, so. But we have what the need is, so, you know, understanding the need is there now, trying to put staff in charge of those levels, or in the levels kind of happening with the next month or so. But, the goal would be, you know, be able to staff with as lean as we can, but obviously be able to make sure that everybody's safe.
All right, anybody else? So I understand the focus on what you're looking for from us, and you just want us to know if we would have a willingness to look at some incentive programs.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah, I'd love to find ways to engage the people who work at the pool and use the pool on some of the idea generation. Because those are the people who are trying to get it, right? People who potentially work, what is valuable to them. You know, some kind of tie-in maybe with the swim team, I'm not sure. But I would like to see some ideas. I don't have them. We try everything with money, we try everything with, you know, balancing schedule. There's different things. I don't know if there's something new that kids within sight. You know, students, college students, stuff like that.
yeah, so I'm also in favor, I'm always open for ideas.
So,
Go ahead, Michael.
are you finding that, you know, you said that our lifeguards aren't being paid the same rate as local pools or private, what is that difference in dollar amount?
Currently about $5 an hour. We're right near that. Like lifeguards with even a year experience right now are getting private pools. We're getting anywhere from $16 to $22 an hour.
Yes, what about,
And you're paying what?
We start you, so first year would be $12. If you come back, you decide which is Wisconsin swim instructors. On top of that, you get $1 more. If you come back, so if you start at 12 and you didn't get your WSI, you 12.5 the next year.
So with your WSI, you'd be at 13, 20 then?
Correct.
Go ahead, Cameron.
I was just gonna say, I know you said compared to private pools, I guess. You would know this better than I, but is Middleton not that pool with bigger competition? Because it's
Their competition as well.
Are they like way more than $5 an hour on top of us?
No, I have to look at that. They do it differently. So like if you work as just a lifeguard, you get, let's say $15 an hour. If you come in and you're doing swim lessons, you get $27 an hour. So, you know, they change it based on what the job is.
Sure.
We have never done that, just based on, I mean, it's just more keeping track.
That's something we could do, but that probably wouldn't move the needle for your needs right now. Sure. I mean, you only teach, when I did lifeguarding, so I mean, we taught swimming lessons for a couple hours, so that different pay rate can make a huge difference. You had said lifeguards require more certification. Is there any form of like, oh, if you worked here a year, we'll reimburse you the cost for your lifeguard certification or WSI or whatever?
It gets a little bit tough. So if people were to take it through school, I don't have the exact number, but I know it's less. And then probably start with Jay a little bit. But if they have to go out on their own, you're looking at $400 or so for the certification. Just it really depends on the site. So if they're going out, they pay $400, and then someone else staying out and it costs them $150. This is like out of the they reimburse, they submit, you know, what they paid for it and we reimburse them that way, nothing with that.
Yeah.
But it could be an idea, I mean, it could be an option.
But again, probably not something to move the needle this year because it's too late. That would be something better, both in turn of the year and winter or whatever. Be like, hey, come join, we'll, you know, go take this class now,
Yeah.
and then we'll reimburse you at the end of summer or whatever.
Michael?
I'll just say that out of all these options in terms of sign-on bonuses or scholarships, I'm just always in favor of paying them more, $1 more an hour or whatever it has to be done rather than. You know, because then you're rewarding your people who've been here rather than, you know, they don't get the new sign-on bonus, they start to feel resentful, people are new and getting a whatever, just pay them all the competitive wage.
Well, you know, we've talked about this a lot, but I think the bonus at the end of the summer too, because, you know, at one point we were talking about the bonus hourly. It doesn't always sound like a lot, but if you say you get this chunk at the end, that sounds a lot better, even though it's the same amount of money.
And it kind of incentivizes you to pick out as many hours as you can.
Right, that, if you're, I'm with you, if we're gonna do something like that, it's not a sign on, it's at the end. And it should be tied to how many hours you've put at the pool. So it's not the same for everybody, the person who put in 40 hours a week gets this, the person who put 20 hours gets this. So there's that, you know what I mean, you're rewarding people for putting time in.
Well, and I think if you get it at the end, it's a nice big chunk.
Yeah.
Back to school shopping.
You're right, and you remember it for the next year.
Yeah, now, as someone who has been a lifeguard and instructor, do you think, I hated doing instructions, I'll be honest with you. I would have loved if there was a deal where I could work at the pool and not do instructions. Do you think that would make a difference, or you don't get that deal?
I think yes, and I think then everybody would be like, hey, I'm. Cause that's usually, I mean, there are some that really like that. But very, I think more people would rather just be like that. Right? So I wouldn't, I mean, I don't think we're quite there yet.
Cause I think that would be something that would definitely incent people to get, hey, you can be a lifeguard here and not do lessons.
You can still be a lifeguard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well,
Well, you guys gotta give me a lot of good ideas.
School bus driver, summer court.
There are.
We're struggling fast in regards to the number of lifeguards that were short, so I've had one staff member reach out to say, hey, could I work weekends only? So, and that's an option. Now, they wouldn't be doing swim lessons.
Yeah, okay.
So that's something that I'm gonna say yes to, most likely,
Sure.
because that's a 7-8 hour shift.
Yeah,
a day, so that would help a lot. So if there were others that would be willing to do that might even help out overall.
but I think we should really, if we do anything that I think could be immediate, I like that, if you're open for people to kind of do that kind of stuff, but also if we would advertise, if we could come up with a scale of a year-end bonus, that might also bring some people in.
And
I like the year-end bonus for sure, and there also might be a way to do a $50, $60 gift card or something for a referral that works the whole time.
yeah,
I mean, they could double that, they get a friend to work with them, they'll get a certain little bump and out, but, you know, I do $250 a lot for professional jobs. It's just tough, and it seems like those people stay a little longer.
You get a group of
Maybe
friends
go to the
for a friend. For
yeah, I mean, like,
That's how the school district. If we refer someone, they have an interior and then we get that.
It's just a summer.
And I may do it for $50 and bring Cody with me.
I'll do a basket.
say people.
I'll do a basket.
Back in the chair.
My pool used to just down.
It's not open swim.
All right, do you have what you need, bud?
Yeah, I think so.
All right,
Well, it was something together.
So it sounds like there's probably not, okay, correct me if my summary is incorrect here. There's probably not a whole lot we can do right now for this summer.
I'll put together some program,
Okay.
okay, because the whole thing, this was just, I mean, this was based on part-time, we talked out, obviously, about part-time, but I'd really like to see something, for our full-time staff, and we talked about that, but people that have picked up more, you know, some people, you've had a lot of turnover in the last 6 months, right? And so if there's something more we can do for our current staff to retain them and or thank them, just for the different jobs we've done, I'd really like to see that be part of this, you know?
Very
So I
good.
think it'll bring back just some ideas the next meeting.
Yeah, that's good.
It's not gonna be, because I do agree with Doug, we're talking to lifeguards and seeing, what would attract them or whatever, is that gonna be too, so now we're gonna be making a decision in May. Right there.
And so we'll be open at that point, which is fine. I think it's okay. I think, we'll take staff, we'll continue to take staff throughout the summer. If they want, you can always ask.
Yeah, so they make it through the, and they can do a little bonus for their hours, if they got, or something to, the old Columbia cake. Well,
Yeah.
free cassettes, and free 6 cassettes. It's like.
And it's okay, but.
All right, thank you, Mike.
Yeah, thank you.
Jerry, would you like to come up? We got a number of things for you. Well, they're on. We kind of skipped, we wanted to keep moving forward. So we'll start with, it's under other reports. You wanted to update us on, village department head meeting review?
Oh, yeah. We met, last Wednesday. The topic of conversation was, the matrix for, grades, to place employees at. And then, once the grade is determined, then going on the other axis is the steps through the, wage scale for that grade. So we got that determined.
Quick question, grade isn't a performance grade, that's like a,
A level.
manager.
Yeah,
Wow.
classification.
Sorry.
And now the next step is we'll start to put together, well, it may include some revised job descriptions and maybe some new ones. And then the, trigger points for each step within the grade system. So that will take a while. Other than a minor progress report, that's would probably be a couple months before we get that accomplished. We're also, as a part of that, looking at the numbers to fill in the blanks within that chart. So hopefully in a couple months, we'll have some progress.
Very good, thank you. So then we'll go to, oh, I'm sorry.
Just one more comment, Jerry, I told all of this, but I don't think I told you this, I appreciate that you're doing this, I really like hearing this information at the board meetings. I really like that you're working with staff and it's being driven by you guys, and you guys are meeting, and I don't know, I appreciate this, keep this up, it's good work.
Okay.
We're in general business now. Number 1 was discussion and possible action, pay application. Number 7 for water system improvement project. I haven't been here, but he's briefed you.
Yep, the emphasis has been on well 2 bathrooms, getting those done for the start of wall season. And that is progressing very nicely. End of this week, first of next week, we should be having our run through of all the systems and getting the bathrooms turned on for the season. We did have a minor glitch. Well, depends on how tall you are, if it's minor or not. The transformer to power the bathrooms, the one that was shipped did not meet, or does not match the specs for what was intended to go in the space. We're working on getting a different transformer to replace the one that was recently installed. If for whatever reason you go in the concession stand at well 2, watch your head until we get it replaced. So it hangs down a lot longer than it was supposed to, so. When it shipped and, or they
inverse the dimensions, they've got the horizontal dimension as the vertical, and the vertical as the horizontal, so.
Is that at a cost to us, or is that something like that?
That would be part of the punch list, shall we say, for the contract. Other than that, everything's going real well. Got the trim all on, actually you get that on both wall houses now, so. It's coming together pretty good, so there's no reason not to write them another check.
All right, do I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion to authorize the payment as presented.
I'll second. All right, I have a motion and a second to approve the payment application for number 7 for the water system improvement project. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same, so moved. All right. Discussion and possible action, approval of the 2023 village mowing contract.
Yeah, so. The contractor that we've had for over 20 years now is, well, he's having problems finding help, just decided not to renew it. Once we found that out, we went out and Mike and I created a RFP, sent it out there, took some effort to actually get, of the 3 responses we finally received, the first one, Lawn Care Plus, is the only one that was real enthusiastic about it and didn't have to be chased to get a number from them. So we have basically these 3 choices. Obvious one is Lawn Care Plus. It is a substantial increase from the numbers we've had. The number we've had is, to the best of my recollection, about 15 years old. The last 2 contract renewals, they were 5-year contracts. There were no price increases. So been a long time since we had new numbers, and they went up substantially.
And what is that? What were we paying?
Well, it's 1,500 per week,
Okay,
but more than double.
yeah, almost 3.
That's what brought about my comment in the recommendation is, it's now enough of a cost contract that when you want to look at adding an employee and purchasing some equipment, it may in the long run turn out to be cheaper.
Is someone gonna do analysis of that?
I suggest your finance committee to do
All
that.
right. Okay, you can do that. Let me ask you on that, with your and Mike's opinion, do we have to do it weekly throughout the summer? I understand, May, June, but once August, September comes, do we really need to do it weekly? Or is that something we can adjust?
It depends on the site, and that is why we do the pricing the way we do. We have a cost for each individual green space.
Yep.
So that comes end of July, it dries up. We've had years, 2019 is an example, that was due to the moisture, it needed mowed every week, every site, and it started already in March and it lasted until we had about a 34-week season that year. We've had years where you get at the end of July, a lot of areas can be skipped, sometimes every other week. sometimes every 3 weeks even, in an extremely dry year. At 3 weeks' time, the partner need to do it, just put the weeds off, but.
But is
Yeah,
there,
that's the intent.
is there flexibility
Yes.
for that? So if we don't think so, we can say, please don't mow. Okay,
Normally, well, for the last several years, we haven't even had to tell them, they just would skip.
but we have a new company and I didn't know if this was a lock that they're, on their books, they're putting $4,000 a week coming from Crosspoint.
They were warned that
Okay,
there could be cuts. And actually, that's also the only company that came and did the site visit with us. And, they even commented that they have other customers where it occurs that way.
Okay.
So.
does anybody else have any questions on this? Otherwise, and I will move, if we can, Bobby, put that on the finance agenda, we'll get that assigned out then. It was Pet Care, right? Is that the name of the company?
Lawn care.
Lawn Care, yeah, Pet Care, what am I? So do I have a motion to accept the contract from Lawn Care? Please.
I'll make a motion to accept the contract from Lawn Care Plus.
All right, any discussion? My last thing, is this a 1-year contract, 5-year contract? 1 year?
It's a 1
Okay.
Just nothing really to do with the motion, but I think there's an opportunity here. If we have people look at some equipment and, doing some with some staff, I think there's some volunteer opportunities to do what they do at the St. Francis. At some point in the future, not right now.
Yeah, we gotta run the numbers. All right, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same. So moved. All right. Discussion and possible action, village brush pickup plan. Again, let me to frame this, part of last year's budget, process was that the department had to come up with ways of saving money or being more efficient or bringing in more revenue. So this is one of the ideas that came from Public Works. So that's kind of the history behind it. Go ahead, Jerry.
Yeah, my goal here with the presentation I put together is to create more staff time for other things besides just brush pickup. We currently do it second and fourth Tuesdays of each month. Typically takes about 3 days for 3 guys to cover the village. We have a very brush prolific community. And I looked at 4 different options. There's minor advantages and disadvantages to the first 3. I really feel the 4th one, divide the village in 2 and do monthly or once per month per area, is the best bang for the buck as far as making my staff available for other maintenance projects, cleaning sewers, exercising bells, things like that.
All right, people have questions for Jerry? I have just one. It's in this, number 4, I will certainly support. It's in conflict with, we'd kind of designed with leaf pickup in 2 ways.
We'd have to advertise that, and in a way, it doesn't really conflict with it. And maybe not the same thought as you, but I thought about this. We're doing a brush pickup at the beginning of leaf pickup cycle. We're gonna cover the whole town. And then right after it, which is almost 2 months.
Yep.
Then we're gonna do another brush pickup that covers the whole town. And I think it just has to be a trade-off that to accommodate the leaf pickup, this is how we have to. do it.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that, I didn't know if we were gonna switch to do village-wide for those 2 months. Cause
Those
otherwise,
2 months we have to.
yeah, that's where I was saying the conflict, otherwise it'd be 2 months and they wouldn't get
Right.
pick up, and you're talking about with one group from basically October through the end of November. So how this would be pictured is 10 months a year, it would be once a month with the village split in half. October, November, it would be village-wide.
Yep, we'd have to do it that way to accommodate the brush, or
Yeah.
the leaf pickup, is the only, that was
Okay.
the only thing I could think of.
And you don't wanna do this, the only other conflict is, and I'm trying to keep things as simple as possible. Brush, we're dividing the village into 2, leaves, we're doing all one. You wouldn't wanna try, cause that, we talked a little bit about separating the leaf pickup, splitting the town in half. You still think it's good the way it's set up then when,
I'd like to stick with the leaf the way we talked about.
okay,
I'm essentially, what I'm doing for the month of October and November is I wanna get everything else done before that.
Yeah.
Because October and November, that's all we're gonna get done, is brush and leaves.
Yeah.
Well, emergencies,
sure,
but,
okay.
that's all we'll get accomplished. There won't be a big enough window for any other real projects.
All right, we just gotta make sure the website puts in there that October, November is village-wide on those days.
Yeah,
Russ,
it'll take some advertising and it'll. I would expect you off to show them phone calls, but.
And when were you thinking of a start time on this?
That I was gonna kind of leave up to you guys. I think we should advertise it at least a couple of times before we start it, maybe more than that.
Yeah,
We wanted to wait and start at the first of the year. I could even live with that.
well, I'm be interested what other people are thinking. Go ahead, Mike.
Question. Okay, my question is, a number 1 here, you say go to 1 monthly pickup for the village instead of 2. Like how we do, and then you say potential savings none, but isn't that logically what 4 is there's 1 month is making it village wide, but you're dividing it into 2 separate days?
I won't, and that's the problem right there.
You see what I mean?
People think we pick up brush on Tuesdays and we only do it for 1 day. If
Right.
we go to village wide once a month, we'll be 6+ days.
But won't that still be what you're doing on number 4? Because you'll have 3 days at one time and 3 days on the other, because the volume in each one of those separate areas is gonna be double what it was. Because that was your argument, volume of material will remain the same, requiring the same amount of labor. So we aren't changing volume, so you're still gonna have to require the same amount of labor, no matter how you divide it up.
But the number of streets we have to drive over,
Well,
the
that,
number of trips we have to go to dump. With the divided.
Right.
With number 4. Is gonna get us done. Maybe not in a day, but by noon the following day.
right, which I understand, it's just whether or not you do 2 village-wide things, there must be stretches of street where you go over them twice and you're doing nothing. When you do it now, when you do 2 village-wide per month, like what you just said, you're shortening the amount of streets and you're keeping it concentrated. That's really where you're thinking the savings is gonna come from, like doing the division. Yeah, that was my question. So that's where you think the savings is,
Right.
but you're still anticipating the same amount of volume though, in terms of brush.
No,